Hey everyone, it's Dirk. Welcome to Build Interactive Social Networking Apps. This is a sample chapter from the course. For more information and sample chapters, please visit me at developerinspirus.io/social. Hey, it's Dirk. Welcome back to the course. Finally, it's time for us to implement our app. So in this section and the next, I break it down into two parts. The first one, we will implement all the interactive features of the app. In the second part, we will port it into Parse and allows the user to create new interest, post new post, post new image, comment on the post, and etc. Like comment or user sign in, sign up, upload profile image, things like that. Okay. So in this video, let's talk about how we can implement the home screen, HomeViewController. And if you remember in our prototype or when we design it in Sketch, we have this wonderful design, beautiful design home screen, and I have made a little bit tweaked into that. Let me introduce it to you. On the top, we still have this white status bar. On the back, we have a background image view, we have the blur image, and we have some buttons, right? And here is each interest. And now I think that will be more visually appealing if we have, instead of using the white background, we use the blur background extra light. So that will make much more appealing in visual effect. Okay? So how about we jump right into this and learn how to develop this wonderful HomeViewController. Okay? So I will open up Xcode, and I want to note to you that at the time of this screencast, I use Xcode 7 Beta 1, and if you don't have Xcode 7 Beta 1 yet, and this is using Swift 2, so go to appdeveloper.apple.com and download the Xcode 7. Okay, and as I told you in the homepage in the website, as new version of Swift and Xcode is released, I will also update the course. Whether it is minor updates that I will post it into the course, or I will post it as a new video. Okay, so right now I will open up Xcode and create a new project. With this project, I will use the single view application, and I will name it interest, and it is plural. Okay, and then I will click next. So create. Alright, so here is our Xcode, and for some of you guys who are starting out, I just want to remind you, this is the status bar. We still have the project navigator, we still have the attribute inspector. Alright, so let's jump right into main.storyboard and see what's going on. Okay, so here is our view controller, but right now I want to just delete this one and create a new view controller. Okay, so I will delete this one and create a new view controller. The reason for that is I also want to delete this view controller, so move it to trash, because normally no one uses the term view controller. If it's just like a demo app, then maybe, right? And then I will create a new view controller for this. So I will go over iOS, source, and then Cocoa Touch class. And for this, we will use UIViewController. And for that, we will name HomeViewController. And click next. And then I will place it right here. And then we will create. Alright, let's leave it there and go back to main.storyboard. And then I will assign this view controller into the home view controller. So we'll go over the third tab, the identity inspector, and then I will type home view controller and press enter. And sometimes as I noticed that if you click enter and the module here it says none, then you can just delete the reference of this class and add it back again. Okay, so along the way, if we got that, I will show you. Alright, so and also I want it to be the initial view controller. Next, I want to drag an image out and make it as our prototyped image, right? As our background image. So I go type image in the object palette, and then I will drag out an image like this to the corner, and then I will drag those to fill the whole screen. Alright, so next I want to auto layout. I will apply some constraints into this UI image view by go to this pin button, and I want it to be 0, 0, 0, and 0. And 0 here. Uncheck the constraint to margins, check it as 0, and then we will update the frames for the selected item, which is the UI image view, and then we will add the 4 constraints. Okay, so I also prepare for you some of the images that you can download right down below, and you may notice that those images, it may be quite large, but later on when we use Parse, and I'm going to teach you how we can shrink that image down using the aspect ratio to save the efficiency of the app, also save the energy when you download or fetch it into Parse. Okay, so I have a bunch of resources here, and you can just open the images and then open assets.ac assets. Okay, and then I will drag all of those images inside here, just like that. Okay, so we have these images. Most of those are the ones that we use when we design them in Sketch. Alright, and I also want to drag some of those the profile image into this. So I just drag one out. Okay. Alright, so let's assign this image view into R1, right? And then I also want it to be aspect fill, just like this. Alright, so that is that. Let's drag out a blur view for that. I click to blur, and then I will drag out just like the image view, and then we'll drag like this. And also let's apply all the constraints to this 0, 0, 0, and we will update the frames just like that, right? And so I want this to be light, so I select this blur view, and over the attribute inspector, click the blur style to be light. Okay, so next, what's next? Let's handle the collection view. Okay, and if you are not familiar with collection view, that's okay. I will talk a little bit about that. It's very much similar to the table view, which I hope that most of you will be familiar. And also, you have a bonus. Okay, you have a bonus in this course as the All Things Collection View course. So check it out if you are not familiar with UICollectionView. Alright, so this is the collection view. I will select that. We don't want a collection view controller, we just want a collection view because we can embed it inside this view controller. So I will drag out a collection view like this, and then make it there. And I want to use this collection view have a specific width and height. So I will go over the size inspector like that, and then scroll down into the view. Okay, I want the width to be 600, which is the entire width, 600. The height to be 452. Okay, and then I want the background image, the background color of this collection view to be clear color, so that I can see the very beautiful background. So we will select that and go over the background, and we will select clear color. Okay, and next I will inspect some of the size inspector inside this collection view cell. So I will go over the size inspector, selecting the collection view, and then size inspector, and then we will have the cell size to be 280, the cell's height to be 380, okay? And then I want to have the minimum spacing of this to be 10, and for lines is 20, okay? And then we will use the section inset of the left is 20, the right is 20, all right? And that's it. But you see that this collection view cell, it's right in the center. And that is because by default, collection view is scrolled vertically, and we want it in this app to be scrolled horizontally. So I go over the attribute inspector and then select the collection view over the attribute inspector, and the scroll direction I will select horizontal, and then you will see that this one, it will move back to the left. Okay, so now let's drag out some of the content view inside this collection view cell. All right, the first thing I will need is an image. Drag out an image like this, make it make it fill the whole screen just like that, and then we will pin those to own the fork margin 0, 0, and 0, and want to update the frame just in case. Okay, and then let's set this image to R1, make it aspect fill, right? All right, and then I also want to have a blur view. Here it is, and make it right down below here, so that it will be the caption view for our blur view, for the title, right? And for this, I want that to be 80 in size, and also I want to pin some of those. So uncheck the constraint to margin. So left, right, bottom, and I want the height, instead of 128, I want it to be 80, right? And then we want to update the frames, and then add 4 constraints, and you will see that this one is shrink down. That's great. And now I want this, instead of light, I want that to be extra light. So extra light, just like that. Okay. So next, we want to have this title label. So let's have that. We will search for a label, and then we'll drag it so that it will be 16 on the top and 16 down the bottom. Okay, and then drag it to the left, right? And then we want the lines, same, because some of the interests maybe will have multiple lines, so we want the maximum lines, it will be 0. Okay, and then I will make it to the top, make it to the leading space, the trailing space, and also the bottom space. Okay, and it looks good, but right now maybe we want to do something like we love traveling around the world. Okay, so that we can see that, and then I press Command and equals, and then let's make it like that. Okay, and now it's fine again, and you see that we have multiple lines over here. Okay, so another thing is, don't forget to, we will right click into the collection view, right click into that, and you see that we have 2 outlets. The first one is the data source, and the second one is the delegate. So it turns out that UICollectionView is very much like UI table view. UICollectionView also has a data source, which is just an array of stuff. UICollectionView also has a delegate. Things like when you tap on the cell when you move around the scroll views, things like that, right? Because a collection view is also a subclass of UI scroll view. So what I will do is we will select that one and drag it to the view controller, to the home view controller, so that we can assign explicitly that this collection view will be the data source. This view controller will be the data source for our collection view. And also we want this view controller to be the delegate of our collection view. And just like that, okay? So that when we do it in code, we don't have to like assign it in view did load or something. All right, so let's go to the home view controller, and then we will write some code right now to configure our collection view and on the interest. So let's do some cleanup first. The first thing I'm going to do is I will delete all of these code. We don't need that yet, and maybe just leave the view did load there. So I don't want it like that. So all right, so let's have two outlets. The first one is a background image view. The second one is the collection view itself. So I will do @ib outlet, and then we'll have var outlet var, and we have the background image view, and that is of type UI image view. Okay, and here we are using the explicitly unwrapping so that we don't have to write an initializer for this home view controller. And now let's have this one too, and that is collection view, and is of type UI collection view. Right, I have a typo here. All right, maybe I will increase the size of this so you can see it better. Right, much better, right? Okay, so what's next? Next, maybe I want to have something like the current user profile image button, and I also want to have the current user full name button. Make it as an IB outlet so that later on I can configure that. So I will have that, and that is current user profile image button. And notice that I want it to be a button because maybe the user will click onto that and I will show him or her the profile page, right? So this is a type UI button. And also let's do the current user full name button. That is also a type UI button. Okay. All right, what else do we need? We will need actually several things, but first let's just connect these things into our main.storyboard. So I will go over the document outline, and then here is our view. Let's right click into the home view controller, open it like that. Okay, so that we can expand everything. Okay, so you see that we have something we need to connect over here over the outlets. We have a background image view, so let's click it into the R1. We also have a collection view, so drag it into the collection view right there. We also have the current user full name button and current user profile image button. But guess what? That could be your challenge in this video, okay? But don't sweat yet. It's just like you had to drag out some buttons and then set it in the view did load, okay? So let's go back to home view controller and work on some more things. The first thing we will do is I will do the interest. So I want to have a data source for our view collection view. So let's make some marks over here. That it will be IB outlet. Okay. The second one I want to be the data source, UI collection view, data source. Okay, and that is just a private var interest, and we want it to be interest dot create interest. All right, so where is the class and the method interest and create interest come from? Well, let's create that class. Oh no, I prepared that for you. So let's go over that and download it right down below, and then we will work on that together. Okay? So right now I will paste it into my project by adding a new file, script file, and then that is an interest. So I will copy and paste. So let's figure out what is this class is all about. So this class is just a grapple class of the model for our interest, because I don't like to spend a lot of time just like type those code. It's just very trivial code, and it's just so it has the class interest. It has some public APIs of some properties, things like the title of the interest, the description. We have the number of members, we have number of posts, the featured image. We also have things like the initializer. We can use the title, description, and featured image. We have a static class method, which is create interest. And then here I just use some dummy variables, some dummy data, okay? Or I can just do something like dummy data, and then make some nice comments about how about having a sheet. I don't know. I thought I find out that over here. I find it's very funny if you use emoji to comment your code. So never mind, don't waste time here. Okay. So next, now let's use this, because when we call the interest dot create interest, we will have an array of interest, right? So that will be this interest will be an array of interest. Our job left will be configure the collection view so that we can see it very clearly, right? So let's do that. But first, I want to somehow organize my code a little bit, because later on, as the videos go on and you learn much more, we create new classes, it will be very messy. So for this one, the interest, I will make it a new group, and let's name that the model. For this one, I will make a new group, and that will be the home screen. Okay, usually in many projects I will use the model, the view, and the controllers, but in this one I prefer to use into the home screen, the interest screen, the discover screen, things like that. And in each one we can identify which is the model, which is the views, or things like that. Okay. Alright, now let's configure our collection view by having an extension for the HomeViewController, and then in that we will implement the UICollectionView data source. It's just like the UITableView data source, so I will show you exactly that. So we have an extension over here. And in case you wonder what is an extension is a method, a way in Swift that you can extend a class. You can extend the functionalities of a class, like you can add some more method into that, or you can inherit, or you can conform to a particular protocol and you implement those methods. So we have the extension, and that is HomeViewController, and that we will implement. We will conform to the UICollectionView data source, and that is a protocol that we have to implement, right? And then these will have to implement at least 3 methods. The first one is number of sections in collection view. So we will do number of sections in collection views. So in the UI table view, we also have number of sections in table view, right? So right now we will return 1, just 1. The second method we will have to do is the collection view number of items in section. So collection view, and then let's find the number of items in section. And then we will return what, because in this one we just have 1 section. So all we need to do is just return the interest.count. And that's that, right? And the last thing we want to do is we want to have collection view cell for item at index path. It is very much like the UI table view cell for row at index path, right? But in the collection view, instead of row, they call it item. So we have the collection view, and then we'll do the cell for item at index path. Okay, let's make it like that. So for this one, we also had to dequeue a reusable cell for identifier, and that is the way collection view is incredibly efficient in the power source of the phone, and also it is very compelling because we can configure all kinds of transitions, all kinds of layout in collection view. So I will do let cell equals collection view dot dequeue reusable cell with identifier. Okay, the first one, and then here I want it to be a very well iOS developer, so that's why on below here I will do something like private struct, and that is called storyboard, and then we will do static let, and this is cell identifier. Okay, and for this I will call the interest cell, and over here I can use Xcode completion storyboard dot cell identifier. Okay, and so for the index path, just pass in the index path, which is right here. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to configure this cell. So right now let's just return this cell, right? And then we will go over the main.storyboard. You see that this is a custom cells for a UI collection view. What we want to do now is we want to create a new class that will subclass the UICollectionView cell, and we'll assign that class, this cell, into that class, and then we'll configure that in the HomeViewController. Okay, so I will click into HomeViewController, right click, add a new file, and then iOS source. Okay, and then it will be Cocoa Touch class, and then it will be a subclass of UI collection view cell, and we will name that interest collection view cell, and then we'll click next, place it there. So what is the things in this interest collection view cell? We want to just have two things. The first one is featured image view. The second one is interest title label. So let's have that. Okay, so I will have a mark here called private, because I don't want it to any other touches my private, right? Oops. So the first one is at IB outlet, and you see that I usually do this instead of just dragging out, because like sometimes you just open this main.storyboard and it takes some time. So quick var featured image view, and it is of type UI image view. Okay, and then we want to do this, and then interest title label, that is UI label. All right, and that is that. So I will connect this one into the main.storyboard by first select the collection view cell, open the identity inspector, and assign that into the interest collection view cell. Press enter. Okay, and then we will go back and right click into the interest collection view cell, and we'll see that we have the background image with featured image view and the interest title label. So drag out the featured image view into this R1, and also expand that. Interest title label should be that. All right, so that is that. Now in this one, I also want to have a public API. So let's have a mark, and that is public API, which is the data source for that. And here all I want to do is just an interest, and because this one is an interest collection view cell, right? And I want to, as the set we will have this thing called the property observer, meaning that when it is set, then we will update the UI. And this update UI is a private method that we can just use. We will write right now. So let's func update UI. All right. And then so what happens is in my HomeViewController, I will set cell.interest equals some interest, and then this method will get called set, and then inside that updates UI will get called. Okay, that's why we want to do the property observer and want to do this one as private. And all we need to do now in this is we will use interest title label ?.text. And notice that in Swift 2 at least it is now it is title label.text. The text will be string ? So we have to ungrab that equals interest dot title. And next is featured image view dot image, and also ungrab equals interest dot featured image. Because in the interest class, you see, we have something called the featured image. We also have the title. Later on, we'll use things like description, number of members, and number of posts. All right. So that is that actually. So let's go back to the HomeViewController. And all we need to do right now is just cell.interest equals, we also have to cast it as interest collection view cell. And now we want to do cell.interest equals, so we have an array of interest. This is an array of interest. So all we need to do is we will use that index path, this index path that the system passed in, and we will do self.interest and index path. And now in the table view, we will do index path dot section sub index path dot row, right? But right now in this, we can just index path dot item for the collection view, and this is plural. Okay, so it is quite a lot of code to digest right now, but so let's run this to see if it works. I hope that you understand, and if you do not, then if you have any question, just post it. Feel free to post it right down below, and I will try to answer all of those questions as soon as possible. Okay, so we will take some time to just run this project, and that is not us. Right, so let's run it back. Right, so here's our project is running, and we have a crash right up front. So let's find out what is it. We have the assertion failure, and it says that the queue reusable view of kinds, things like that. Well, what happens is we just dequeue a reusable cell right over here, and that is named interest cell, but we never assign this interest cell for the prototype cell in here. So I will select the interest collection view cell and go over this, and the reuse identifier, indeed we haven't set it to be interest cell, so press enter, and then let's run it back again, and hopefully this time it works. And yes, it works. So we see that we have very nice, very beautiful images. This one works because we set the auto layout nicely, correctly. All right, see. So in the next video, there are several things I want to enhance this HomeViewController. The first thing I want to do is I want to have a little bit of the rounded corners, right? And the next thing is I want to have the status bar to be white. So stay tuned and I see you in the next video. Thank you for watching this sample chapter from View Interactive Social Networking Apps. I hope that it is of great help to you. This is a course I designed to help developers learn to design and make prototypes, start developing beautiful apps with great care for design in mind, help designers to start making their own apps. One important part of this course is the foundation for you to connect your app to the world by using Parse as a backend service. For more information and sample chapters from the course, visit me at developerinspirus.io/social. Till next time, go out there, learn new things, craft your ideas, and contribute to the world.